Looks like there's a seafloor ahead of us to take a look at as well. Pilots will get situated.
Yep.
And
Nice.
basically we'll kind of talk
record.
through what we're seeing as they maneuver into position.
Probably pretty close.
What's the biggest
It's
delta?
big delta.
Biggest
Currently
delta
at a depth of
I, wasn't
1,310
happy with what
meters.
was doing. Yeah, I should have slowed.
We're diving at an unnamed seamount within the Phoenix Islands protected area. We've nicknamed the seamount Teutana, which means a little.
Looking down at you at about
Is that
8
correct?
zero.
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Randy, is that the reasoning
Going
behind the
down
name?
13.
Can you enlighten our viewers?
You have an anchor attached to it, I think.
Yeah, I think it means just a little bit. And today we had a little less time than usual, so just a little bit. And we're diving this cute little peak, just a little. And it also can be used in sort of slang, like "How you doing?" Teutana also can mean not bad. And so not bad for all that we're going to be able to accomplish today, even despite some of the logistical constraints. So
Perfect.
I like our little nickname, and I'm really happy to have it used today. So thanks. And it's a Kiribati word, so I think it's really appropriate.
Definitely. And as we have been traveling up and down the Tokelau chain through Pippa and back down, we have been diving on a number of unnamed seamounts. Many of these unnamed seamounts are just so remote that they've never been visited before, they've never been mapped, so therefore they don't really have names. We're one of the first few expeditions. Some of these features have been mapped kind of in a low resolution before, but we're doing a more detailed survey of a lot of these areas, and a lot of our data will be provided to national depositories for analysis, and then subsequently I hope some of these unnamed features might get names one day.
Okay.
But it's not.
This is Randy again. I'm
Yeah.
just weighing in to say that that is definitely a priority, and I think some of the findings that we have here will hopefully contribute to the name. So that's really exciting. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Go ahead, Rich. Yeah, let's move center vegetation to A-frame and.
So that was
bail
Randy
out for now.
Rogen,
Let's
who's the
do
co-chair for
west,
the
270.
Phoenix Islands Protected Area Science Advisory Council, and she's been participating throughout the dives, basically providing us her insights into the importance of our observations for meeting the needs of the broader management concerns of this area.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, pilot.
Following you up.
Have you noticed much of a current this morning? Today?
That's a storm.
Looks like there's a fish over there on the left.
About 6-0.
Not much of a current? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you actually have two fish, and the one that's closest to the center, above a little mound of sediment, might be worth zooming in on if the pilots have three fish, because another one just dipped into view. I think we're seeing two halosaurs and a bathygatid. The bathygatid is the one that's just past a little mound of sediment. They're very graceful fish with long fin rays and elongate tails.
I think we might be seeing
And I don't think we have good video.
A rat tail too, maybe.
Do you want to see this fish?
Yes, please.
I think that's the bathygatid that I'm referring to. But maybe there's another rat tail in there. I haven't seen that yet. I don't think you have good images of a bathygatid yet on this cruise.
Come on in.
But I may be off on this. I'm learning some humility after yesterday's bad guess about the fish that we saw during sunfade.
I don't think anyone can blame you, Bruce. It was kind of a tough picture, but we're happy to know that about the, what is it, whalefish?
Yeah, type of whalefish. Really incredible. Oh.
So this fish is a bathygatid. They're relatives of the rat tails, the macrurids, and for a long time they were placed in that family. One major difference is the dorsal fin, the long fin on the back, has rays that are much longer than the anal fin, the fin on the bottom. This is in the genus Gadomus, and I know it's a Gadomus because it has those very long filamentous rays on the first dorsal fin sticking high up off of the back, on the pelvic fins, on the stomach, down toward the bottom, and particularly on the pectoral fins, the fins on the side of the fish behind the head. It also has a long whisker on the chin. And all of those are used as sensory organs for feeling vibration. They probably have taste buds as well. Maybe like the freshwater catfish, they're finding food on the bottom in the relatively sunless environment that they're in. So they're quite graceful fish with those long fin rays and the long whisker and that long undulating tail. I'm glad that we got the image. The species is impossible to determine because the couple of reviews that have been done of this family in the last few decades have said that there just isn't enough, there aren't enough specimens in collections to really work out the taxonomy and solve some of the problems in this genus. So a bathygatid, I don't know if they have a common name. We can call them rat tails for lack of a better common name. A very nice fish.
Thank you, Bruce. Bruce Mundy has been joining us from the Pacific Fishery Science Center in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Every time I touch
He's
it
been participating throughout the expedition, providing us with deep sea fish expertise.
Maybe use tilt.
You can also clearly see the lateral line on this fish, the line of dark pores. They arch up over the pectoral fin, then down along the side and go along the side. That's a line of vibration sensing organs that gives the fish another way of sensing prey and potential predators approaching.
Looks like there's some little white objects on this.
The tips of the... Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, could be parasites.
Maybe.
Oh, he's
Thank
gone.
you, pilot. Video, that was great. Seeing a Walteria-like sponge.
Yeah, they were all over these rocks so far. So we touched down around 1325 meters or so.
No.
Oh, it's a sponge.
Up and forward left of that sponge is another fish laying on the sediment.
This coming into view center now.
That's a holothurian.
On the seafloor?
Where's the fish?
Fish is off in the distance.
Looks like a sea cucumber. But
Look
there
at
were a couple more fish. We'll have to keep our eyes out.
Yeah, I thought I saw a tripod fish, but maybe it was just in the distance. It looked like something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
It may have just been a shadow or a rock.
Okay, all deploy.
I think that's a shrimp, though, down below.
Yeah, do you want to look at the shrimp or any of these holothurians or anything?
Zoom in on the shrimp real quick. And then
Shrimp.
You want me to bring everything out?
It looks like one of the darker shrimps we were seeing a while back.
I'm also seeing some mounds
Well, I don't want to
on the sediment.
I'll sit down
Oh,
around here.
and a little.
Brittle star.
Looks like a brittle star was moving along the
that.
sediment as well. A lot of action down here today.
Yep.
Rolling.
It does look like the same dark pigmented shrimp we saw a few days ago at Tight Off Seamount.
Yeah, it had long limbs, but really interesting coloration.
Yeah. I think the limbs were a similar size as well, but the pigmentation is much darker. And it was actually displaying this unusual behavior like this as well. It was kind of just sitting still,
Can't see it?
moving its appendages, not doing much else, not moving like other red nematocarsinids.
All right. Yeah, I can get that for you.
Very prominent rostrum spine as well.
Thanks, pilot.
Video says that you would like a profile shot. Is that correct, or are you good on this?
No, we're fine on that, thanks.
Yeah.
You can see in the Sirius cam on stream 2 that we're basically progressing over sedimented ledge here with scattered boulders all around of different sizes. See a dead sponge in view right now with these really long spines that project out from the main part of the sponge. This is a Walteria-like glass sponge, or hexactinellid. Brown in color, so we know that it's dead. I'm seeing some, also
On that
encrusting
rock ahead,
sponges
too.
as well.
On the right.
Yeah.
Do you want to zoom on the that
white spot?
strange encrusting sponge
Sure. Let's zoom on the
near the lasers?
white.
Sure. Come on in, Roland.
Looks a little bit different.
Did you close the drawer?
Oh no, it's not. I think that
Not
might
sure.
be a brachiopod.
Sneaking in.
Remember we were seeing some transparent one, translucent
It
ones
looks
a
like
few
there's
dives ago.
some sort of viscera in there, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's a sponge. Could be a tunicate as well, but it's looks to have a lot of debris settled on it to be a tunicate. They're normally pretty translucent.
You want a short move?
Not sure about brachiopod. It looks pretty well sealed. I don't see any obvious
Yeah, I don't know. how much
openings
time we
or
have here.
hinges or valves of any type.
And, get one
Remember we
going.
saw one several dives
we-
back that resembled this, and I thought when we came up to it, it kind of went
Here.
closed up on us.
Maybe.
But anyway.
Here's those crinoids.
Absolutely.
An example of, there's probably a couple dozen of these
Okay.
all over the place.
Multiple
so I just
cri-
figured
multiple
we'd get
crinoids.
one. And they're all over. There's some on the rock we're looking at now. There's one in the foreground, the one on my right. There's a whole ton of these all over scattered about.
Well, thanks, pilot. This is great.
Somebody said Tinafor.
20-meter move towards you, 100. Sound good?
Yeah,
Do
that's-
30. I mean, I'm happy with 30.
Sure.
It's pretty flat here.
30 meters.
I'm looking for the Tina 4.
Bridge
oh, I
RV
see
nav.
what you're talking about, yeah. Do you
Yeah,
have
ready
any
for
more?
a move of 30 meters,
I'll try to
bearing
get a little closer.
100, speed decimal 2.
See if we can't light it up. Got a sponge right in my face here, so can't get very much closer.
That's
Although
correct.
it is an already dead sponge.
That's good for us, pilot. I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah, let's pull out.
Seems large to be a brachiopod, though.
Oh,
It's over
it
10
does look really
centimeters.
large. I will
Maybe I
agree
should
that
think
it
of
was
it.
a maybe.
It's a maybe. It could be many
Could
things.
be lots of them.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't feel strongly about one thing or the other.
Nope.
Video has the light.
We progress a lot of these dives in a kind of sea of ambiguity.
Yeah, bring those uppers like all the way deployed.
Yeah. Draw this back up and spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, I see that. A beluga or something there. I'm just looking down in here to see if there's a fish or anything.
You think there's a sea pen in there?
I want to snap in and see if we
Oh, I think I see one on the right-hand side.
Oh, there's crab. Crab
Mullet.
with a- Yeah, mullet crab with a anemone. in its
Anemone
grasp.
hat. Yeah.
Okay. He's
Now
holding
he's
it.
grasping it in his hind limbs.
Anemone pants. Coming over to the pen here.
It's like an anemone umbrella.
Yeah. There it is.
There's a
Oh, there you
few
go.
umbellula
Nice.
here.
Pushing out to it.
Our first octocoral of the dive.
Oh, it's secure.
Umbellula. Gotta get the pilot saying that.
Umbellula.
All
I drew a
together
picture
now.
of the umbellula and the.
Oh, that's different.
What is that?
What is
Little
that word
crab
from
in
the
a
running?
shell.
Is that a hermit crab?
It's a hermit crab in a very strange shape.
What the?
He's in a thimble
is
instead
it?
of a shell or something.
Looks like some broken carbonate shell of some type,
Yeah.
or
Coral.
coral. Yeah.
Didn't know corals were hollow.
I don't know that they are, but maybe they can become hollow once it's
Interesting.
Brings up a good question, science. I know that we have a lot of
Any
these
more,
corals that are called bamboo corals, but their interiors are not typically hollow. Is that correct?
Sound like a
That's
pen cap.
Maxim.
What's that?
The bamboo corals?
Yeah. We call
Well,
them
not
bamboo.
in the traditional
Okay,
sense.
serious start
Some
moving
of
here, looks like.
some octocorals, depending on which taxonomic group they belong to, may
That's great,
have
pilot.
a very, very small diameter tube or hole in the center of their skeleton. But in the traditional sense of bamboos, the plant being hollow or mostly hollow, that's not the case. They are fairly solid. In fact, they lay down regular layers of skeleton over time, which can be used for age dating. But some groups of octocorals do have a small hole in their axial skeleton that provides, I don't know if we know which function it provides, but it is a taxonomic characteristic which we can use to identify certain coral species.
So that internal structure of those bamboo coral would be more like our bones, but made of something different?
More so, yeah. In fact, the one we processed as a sample for age dating
He's crying.
did in fact have this kind of bone-like texture to it. I think the minerals are slightly different in human bones versus corals.
The crinoids on this.
A lot of corals, especially down this deep, the
Yeah, I see
octocorals
that.
have calcite or high magnesium calcite as their
Interesting. The dead-
skeleton.
The dead one doesn't have any.
Can we
and the
zoom
live
in
ones
on the
don't
sea
really.
star on the sponge? It looks like there might be an anemone at the bottom, but the sea star would be great.
Okay.
And then there's a fan on the top of this rock boulder that we'll want to take a look at as well. This looks like the sea star we saw yesterday.
Would you like to
Yeah.
follow you?
Nah, that's okay. Thanks.
I'll do it anyways. Tight.
Titan's fine, yeah. Keep me on track with the Zeus.
Yep.
Yeah, if you came up a little bit, you keep them in view, I think.
So we're closing in on another Walteria
Total
type
wrong.
glass
Keep going. I think
sponge.
it's settling.
Well, right now we see a sea star that's sort of perched on the outside of these spicules. This is a type of goniasterid sea star. We saw a few yesterday on our dive. Some of these sea stars are known to be sponge eaters. Also seeing strands or tentacles from the ctenophores
Looks like you've
and
almost done moving.
several feather
Yeah.
star arms and individual feather stars as well, these
Around group
crinoids.
25 of the 30.
Hopefully we can get a good ID on this sea star.
Yeah, looking down at about 7-0 on pilot now.
Now that I'm seeing these benthic ctenophores in the camera on the left-hand side, on the Iridogorgia we sampled yesterday for our shoreside scientists, there were 2 ctenophores that were isolated and subsampled. So that's a plus. I didn't see them at all on the video we captured on the bottom, but there were a couple of ctenophores similar to the ones we see
Should
on the
we go down
left-hand
and look
side
at
on the sponge.
Anemone?
Yeah.
Yes, Steve and Amanda, this is
See if
Tim.
I can
You
get
see the
from here,
shrimp
but
to the
I'll
left? Is that,
probably take off, go get
it's like it may
there's
be
one there.
outside of the sponge. I
That's
can't
the
tell,
one.
but
That's a cool one.
either way, it's in a pretty good position for us to get a good
Latched.
zoom on. It's rare to get a good
let's
zoom
go
on the
right
shrimp that
here.
are associated with these sponges. So if you do that, that'd be great.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Getting a close-up of an anemone right now that's settled on this sponge, and then when we get a chance, pilot, we want to take a look at second look at the shrimp that's on this sponge as well.
Okay, we're clear on the anemone.
Yeah, you should be done moving.
Okay,
Dave.
sure.
So we can get a potential ID. The one next to the sea star is probably the best,
Yep.
in the best position.
I think it is outside.
Yeah, looks like it's
What's
perched
up?
on the outside of it.
Nothing.
Is that polychaete or
It's hard to light
isopod?
him up with
I
the
think it's
sea star, huh?
isopod on that crinoid.
Yeah, it is. We're going to blow the sea star out light-wise in order to bring up the shrimp. Looks like his antennae are actually blocking a portion of his rostrum.
So we're getting a close-up view of this
Yeah.
shrimp and taking a better look at the rostrum
Tilt
of the
down
shrimp
other
for
one, see if we can bring
potential
it up.
Christian,
IDs.
Amanda.
Same and
Hi, Chris.
Stephen and
Hi,
Amanda.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
this is all you got for Zoom, right?
Correct.
Yay.
Sorry, I
Chris.
was looking at something, and so I saw pictures
Okay,
of
video's
this
clear.
feeding thing
Wow, that's
only
clear.
this morning because I think when you guys watched it, I was on the bus, or you guys had the sun out or whatever it was. This
Do you
is
wanna
very
zoom on the
interesting.
fish?
It,
Can't go
Before
very
we
far
I mean, I
this
could
way.
arbitrarily call,
Ways
or you're not
off
on the
track, but
T-Star right now,
you can
but
snap out to it here,
it's
so I can have a view.
Ceramaster-like, but it's not one that I recognize.
I'm
It's
ready.
a lot more sort of star-shaped.
Nope. I'm not going to chase it.
I would say that if you, I mean,
You're ready. Yeah, I'm ready
this
to
kind
zoom.
of
Go ahead.
predation isn't entirely unusual. You know, you see these
Nope.
feeding. We've seen this
Behind.
kind of feeding before. It's also possible that this could be an unusual.
Looking up a little.
There's a small family of sea stars called the Odontasturidae, and they occur primarily in the Antarctic, but there's a couple of them that actually get out into the deep sea, and they're known very well for sponge feed as spongivores. If you ever get a chance to collect one of these Walteria, it would be great if you could pick up one of these sea stars so that I could actually sort of take a look at it, because the difference between the two families is based on a character that is physically located around the mouth. It's a big sort of glassine fang that sits on the oral plate, and
I'll let 'em swim
most
so we can
goniastrids
see.
don't have that. So
Some of the
it would
goes on
it
over
would
here.
it's an interesting observation. It's probably feeding on this position of the glass sponge, the tissue. But beyond that, it's to me rather novel. So it would be, worthwhile if you get a chance. But
Go with the full
obviously,
fish.
Okay.
we're working at
I got to get running because I'm behind.
with a selective process in mind. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
Yeah, we did get some images of both sides of those sea stars yesterday. We'll have to review the video to see if we can get some really good stills. Is that another fish
Tripod?
on the seafloor?
Yeah, there's one of those tripod fish.
It's way out there.
So
Yeah, why don't
thanks
you
so
turn
much,
this
Chris, for calling in. I've been curious
Let's hope
about
we get back on
what the
track, but
potential ID of those sea
I feel like
stars
the
may be.
spire's
Thanks,
more
Chris.
interesting than-
Yeah, it could be.
This.
It's still kind of
This
out
time's
in the
time,
open, but Ceramaster-like is probably safe.
All right.
Thank you.
Looks like he has
Thank
some
you.
different
Take
shading.
care.
Yeah. We can get a snap on them as I come. They like
Yeah,
to
this
turn
looks-
away
I
sometimes.
think this one's close enough.
D2 is so intimidating. Close-up view of this tripod fish.
Dropping.
Oh, there's a couple of parasites on
Yep.
this one.
Like
Something
so.
behind the gills or behind the mouth, maybe.
Closer.
I think this will suffice.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
And then a spot on the head right between the eyes.
Really impressive modified
Bounce.
fins here.
So this looks like the Bathypterois we've been seeing.
Yeah, it has a notch on the caudal fin, on the lower side of the caudal fin. It's one of the characteristics that our fish experts have been pointing out to us.
Okay, let's go for a full species.
And it does look like there may be some parasites close to the mouth and the eye on the head of it.
And stripe it in videos.
Thank you, pilot.
Okay, striping it.
I think that'll suffice.
Great. Thanks.
Well, a good start to the dive. A few fish observations and some really large sponges, the Walteria glass sponges with associates.
So I've been seeing also, we'll keep an eye out for a yellow plexaurid fan. Seen a couple of them so far, so I'm optimistic we'll see more, but I have noted they are in kind of a difficult position to move to, so I think we'll see some more coming up. I've seen at least 3 colonies so far. Both of them appeared to have Ophiuroid associates.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for a yellow fan.
Might be some.
Anemone on top of that.
Maybe on the left-hand side there's a white stalk. Look at all these crinoids on the side of the
Yeah, tons of crinoids.
vertical face.
Do you know a closer look at any of the things?
At the white stalk.
The white stalk.
Yeah, thanks. White branchy.
Tilt it down.
There's
Oh,
a
good.
yellow fan on the rock there.
Get
Come on
it
in.
here.
Yep.
Oh, it's alive.
Yeah, it's a live scleractinian.
Pushing ahead a little to get it lower in the screen.
We are diving in a similar depth range to yesterday, so it wouldn't be unusual to see scleractinians if we saw them yesterday here as well.
Max copy.
So this is a colonial stony coral. We see live polyps extended. They look really almost transparent. It's white in color, but basically this is a live stony coral.
No.
Very, very small
Sounds
colony,
good.
but still,
I'm ready.
you know, a notable find.
That coral.
Oh, there's a bamboo whip as well, I think.
Do you need to look at the bamboo?
Sure.
Come on in. Dense.
Again, a lot of these bamboo whips seem to have these unusual migrations
Not very contrasting
in their
background, huh?
Yeah, it's
skeleton. They either jog to the left or the right. Unclear. It could be damage causing that. It could be some sort of change in the current regime which forces them to regrow in a different direction. But this colony seems to have yolky egg masses. And then what's that in the top there? There's
a crab or
a
something
crab?
up there? I can't tell.
have to get closer.
Sneaking in.
I'm thinking it's Actinophore. Not sure.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing pinchers or chelipeds of a squat lobster,
Slowing down.
but I'm having a difficult time seeing the body.
Yeah, we're gonna get settled in real good here in a second, and then we'll be able to get a really tight zoom. We're gonna lose it briefly while I touch down. I'll tilt back up to it.
I'm seeing what looks like maybe eggs at the bases of the polyps as well, and some of them are actually moving
Up.
into the part of the polyp.
Yep.
Possibly that indicates that they're going to release them at some point.
Yeah, I've never seen them that far up the polyp before. Could be. for sure.
The tether get around the other side rolling, unfortunately.
That's great, pilot. Thanks for the close-up of the squall lobster. Last bamboo. I think we're good.
Okay.
Not really sure what it is,
Might be
but
able to, can they
it's good to
determine
document
maybe
the association.
style of claw?
Maybe. It's kind of strange looking.
It's very specific.
I did see something on our way in here. On ahead of us, on the upper left of a large boulder, I saw a larger yellow fan.
Oh, why?
When you're ready to lift off, I'll try and point out where it is.
Okay. So right now we're facing sort of north. I see the fan.
Yep, that's the one.
So this is a ways off track. We got a little room to get out there, but eventually I should turn right and push up slope.
Okay.
Here's one a little closer.
Sure.
Is that the same thing? Or?
Yeah, that's. We'll try that one.
Can snap on both.
Check them
pull
both.
them out.
Yeah.
Is that a squid on the left, or is that a shrimp?
That's a shrimp. In the water column, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shrimp. Come on in.
The disc is very
Looks
prominent.
like a plexaurid fan.
Closed up.
We've been
Closed for
seeing a
business.
number of these
Maxu.
over our expedition. This one has all the polyps closed.
It's a very nice view of the central disc from the underside if we could get closer.
A little, but not much. I'm going to start bobbing if I get much further out than this.
Something we haven't seen.
I see a crinoid
I'll push out and
as
see
well as that ophiuroid associate,
what I can
brittle
do
star.
for you.
Brittle star and a feather
Be
star.
ready. The ship heave, we're going to bob around. Possibly. Yeah.
Pilot, I'm going to swap out.
Okay.
Science, while we're looking at this, I've got another question for you. Are these polyps communicating to each other? Because since they're all closed up.
That certainly seems to be one of the hypotheses, for sure.
How's it going?
Sometimes when you, for example, agitate a colony or brush up a colony, brush up against a colony, you might find that only some of the polyps may close. You know, a response to disturbance. Sometimes they'll all close, depending on how
We'll try
widespread the
other fan, make sure
disturbance
it's the
is.
same thing.
It's not really clear. You know, they can all close up as well if they receive a large mass of food particles, which would cause them to, you know, necessitate them to close up, digest the food, and then come back out when they're finished with that. Unclear. Another mystery.
I'll have to do that one from here. Turning my heading and bringing it in. Yep, go ahead on out.
We've got a couple other fans here as well.
Yeah.
This one seems to have its
We
polyps
can,
more
if there's
open.
a bunch of stuff on this rock you want to see, we can make a little out of the way hop to it.
I
And
think
get
we
a look
can.
at all of it.
I think we can just kind of do a cursory survey pilot as we
Alright.
as we move.
Just making sure.
Yeah, thanks.
There's nothing limiting us other than the fact that we want to try to make progress
Right.
upslope. So
Couple more.
it's important to come look at
Something.
this rock and see the couple of different fans. I'm more than willing.
Look lower left.
Lower left.
Just to
On
show
a
the
gorge,
coral.
yeah, up on the rock. Yeah. In the lower left on this vertical rock face, there might be one last thing to zoom on. Oh, what is that? Okay, maybe two things.
These two next to each other.
This and then up ahead of us. There's something else we just saw.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stretched
Really?
out here, so that up ahead will be
Okay.
Maybe,
Will be
I'm
a
sure we'll
stretch,
come
but we'll
across
get it.
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
maybe a stretch for
So
the
from
to
NOAA.
get it.
From NOAA.
I
Wow.
think, as
Is
long
that our
as we
first
get
one
some-
for the dive so far?
For these, just visual. IDs,
That is the first
get a
promote
better
for the
imagery
dive. Yep.
later.
Yeah. You need to see the
like
polyps on
the-
this to know what it is, right? I don't see any open ones.
Looks like they're pointed downward.
Yep.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
This could be a characteristic of Narella, but also of others.
Lift up and show the background.
Thanks, pilot.
Yep. And then, hold on, I'm going to do a little swap, and I'll tell Carl that you want to see any coral in the back there.
Okay. Doing a pilot change right now, and they're briefing each other, but as we see in front of us, basically there's a few sponges, Walteria glass sponges that we've been seeing through the dive so far, and then in view I see 3 types of octocorals, 2 fans, yellow in color, and then one we were just imaging, a primnoid, so plexaurid and primnoid octocorals. Pretty nice spot, and then basically crinoids or feather stars are sort of decorating this bolder feature in front of us right now. Yeah, it was all bushy, like a bottle brush.
Yeah, that one popped out at me as particularly interesting. It's a very long chrysogorgiid.
It's a promising start to our dive. Okay.
Okay. The new shift has taken over here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, pilot.
I hear there's interest in a coral in the background. To get a zoom on it?
Yeah, basically if it's possible, but if it's going to require a move, we can just kind of make headway. But there's right next to the Iridogorgia, the coily coral, there's a bushy bottle brush type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a sponge, but yeah, I see it. Okay, video. I'm going to creep closer.
I came down a little bit to get
Yeah.
as much as we could.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of associates here.
Look at this. So this is a type of chrysogorgid octocoral with
Pretty
teeny
far out
tiny
there, but
polyps.
that's not bad.
And I see at least a couple squat lobster, chirostylid crabs. And
Coming to starboard.
it's so delicate, this sort of bottle brush octocoral.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Amanda and Steve, this is Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Yeah, this is really interesting because seeing these chirostylids, 2 of them like that, is highly reminiscent of what we see in
Come out for
Parantopathes
the
black
whole
corals
specimen video. I might be able to
in various locations, mostly in the
stabilize
Atlantic, where they have a pair of chirostylids on them. And when we sample them, we realize they're actually male and female. And then often we'll see a third chirostylid on there that's actually much smaller and regarded as being a juvenile.
Yeah,
So we've often wondered if these are family units. There's a third one here now, so, right? There's 2 large ones and a small one. So it would be fantastic to get a good close-up on one of those for ID. But that's fantastic.
Okay, video. I'm pretty stable.
It looks like a Parantopathes.
Trying to get the full
Doesn't it?
specimen.
Yeah, it has a sort of
Slight tilt down.
Yeah.
bushy characteristic of Parantopathes, but totally different group of corals. Really incredible.
Zooming in.
Usually, we do find occasionally these chrysogorgiids going long and narrow, but this one's particularly long and particularly narrow.
There we go.
And like Tim said, very similar to the sponges that are growing in the area.
Zooming in on this chirostylid squat lobster that's hanging out within the branches of a chrysogorgid octocoral. And as Tim Schenk from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution was remarking, we're seeing basically 2 larger individual squat lobsters and then a smaller one, potentially a male and female pair with a juvenile. So this will help with our identification of the squat lobster.
I don't think we'll get much more stable way out here video. But
Thanks, pilot.
Watch leader, are you happy with these shots?
Yes, I am. Thanks.
Okay.
But you're right. I mean, morphologically speaking, in the grand sense, this has a similar shape as the sponges that we're seeing around us, sort of bushy character.
Above it.
Yeah.
Just a wide shot. It's just a nice scene.
So
Tim,
indeed-
again, I don't remember seeing a Chrysogorgia with this morphological shape overall. It's so narrow and thin and tall. It's like it's mimicking a sponge. Pretty neat.
Okay, video's clear.
All right, you can go
It
wide.
could just also be a. I'm wondering if maybe the tall, thin morphology. Okay, this might be a little bit of a stretch. Might be adaptive to the current regime in the area.
Okay, so I hear we have to
You know,
stretch.
perhaps it's not that
more,
strong. That
southeast.
growing tall might not be a bad idea, particularly if the current is kind of moderate or low.
125.
Okay.
130.
Where's the next target? Yeah, it's
135.
southeast.
Thanks, video.
Okay, I'll start driving east to at least if you want to follow.
Yeah, maybe it pays to be long and thin and kind of get up off the bottom if the currents aren't too swift. You don't want to be bent over and broken, so.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice looking rock. Nice diversity there.
That's interesting patterning in the current there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there must be some current at some point down here.
Is that a stalked crinoid lower right?
I think so. Yep, stalked crinoid.
Seeing another iridogorgia and some more of the yellow plexurid octocorals and more of these
Those
Multeria sponges.
glare center screen must be Sirius lights.
We did see one colony of a scleractinian or stony coral. There might be another one over there.
Oh, it's okay. This is
It's just sort of small in stature,
we,
you know, comparatively to the
Can we tilt down and
these
let
long, thin
ROV go through Sirius
sponges and
view
other
once?
corals.
Since you're headed that way. Can I push in on
These
Sirius
blocks
and
are
let
larger
ROV
than we
go
usually
through the
see on
image?
these slopes as well.
We're gonna have to
Oh,
average
there's something in the
a
water
little
column
under 0.1.
above.
Ooh,
Just if you could just let him go
Orient
through before
color.
you
Could be
rotate.
gelatinous, so it might be
There's a fish.
Exit stage, right?
Look up. ROV.
perhaps fishy. I see an eye.
oh,
see a fish there.
yes.
Watch lead, have we
Interesting.
seen this one yet?
No way.
We have not.
Yeah.
Okay, video, you're free to zoom.
I rarely see any red fishes like this.
It's basically invisible in the deep sea.
Quite red. Usually they're purple.
It's got some parasites on it too.
Hi, this is Bruce. We have a class here
Okay.
of about 15 or 20 students and parents. This is an interesting thing to see because it's in the same group of fishes that you saw yesterday when a lot of us couldn't see the video. This is a different type of whalefish in a slightly different family. It's a species called Barbarisia rufa, rufa for red.
center up
It
on
differs
his,
from the other
eye just so I can
whale
zoom in
fishes,
before we get
most
full.
of them anyway, by having the pelvic fins, the fins on the belly, but a small eye, a very large mouth. These are bathypelagic and maybe benthopelagic hovering above the bottom like we see this one. They're in the order Stephanobarissiformes. They're distantly
I'm trying.
related to
These,
the Alfonsinos and the
keeping
Roughies, like the orange
kinda parallel
Roughies,
to
that
me.
are in different
I've changed my
orders
heading.
but closely related. So it's a planktivore, a carnivore, of course, and they're often seen hovering head down or head up.
This is the way he
So
likes to face.
Barbarisia. I'll try to get that into the event log and chat room when I can.
I do want to remark that I'm also seeing a number of these gnathid isopod parasites attached to this Barbarisia. Really incredible fish here. It's a new sighting for our expedition. It has a small eye and really characteristic lateral line as well. So similar to the whalefish that we
I'm
saw
gonna go down to
yesterday,
his
this
head.
one was actually behaving for
we'll go
us.
full body.
We're able to
Okay.
get some incredible
As you
imagery,
rotate
and
around
again, it's covered with these white features, which are ectoparasites or gnathid isopod parasites that consume the blood of the fish
Rotate.
for their nutrition.
Trying. He's flicking up and down too.
And now maybe we can get his gills.
Okay, I'm going.
Tilt down.
That lateral line is so distinctive.
Our
Wow.
It's tough to get the lasers on because it's so
class
thin.
would like to say hello to. Our class would like to say hello to everybody if there's an opportunity.
Of course.
Sure.
You guys are on camera.
Well, mahalo class for joining us today. Really appreciate you guys watching and exploring the seafloor with us. It's been an incredible dive so far, and we've found a fish for you all to take a better look at. It's really a new sighting for our expedition.
Okay, watch lead, you happy with these views?
Yes, thanks so much, pilot.
I think since he's vertical,
Beautiful.
I can't really get lasers on him.
That's okay, but it's great to get a chance to have a second view of that fish, type of whale fish, Barbarisia rufa.
Urchin on the rock.
We have a question from the class. They want to know if the fish are attracted to the lights of the ROV.
I'm not sure
flares in my camera.
about this
I wonder
fish
what
in
those are.
particular. It seemed to be floating along with the plankton, but there has been occasions, especially when we're diving in the shallows, where we get strafed by certain larger predators like jacks.
maybe
Appreciate
a
the
little
light
bit
that
upward
the
towards
ROVs
the
give
lower.
off. They can use it for foraging and feeding. Occasionally, we found a few sharks, and there might be even some highlight
So you're
videos of
happy with
that
your heading here,
up on the web.
co-pilot?
So
You look pretty
I wouldn't
centered on
doubt that
sonar, yeah.
certain species of fish like the light, but some of them might be scared off as well.
Target's more along the line of 130, but if you see something
Okay,
you'd
thank
rather
you.
point towards.
Yeah, we're just gonna go. It's a hill, so if we just go uphill,
Sure.
we can't end up anywhere but the top.
Do you see
Definitely
the
a
purple thing on the
fish-rich
top of the
dive so
rock
far.
above lasers?
We've seen
diagonal
a tripod
right,
fish,
Negative.
maybe a couple,
I'm just gonna get
some
centered up here,
halosaurs
and
or
then we'll
spiny
reacquire
eels, a bathygatid, which is related to the rat
Guess we're getting
tails,
ready for a hop
and
forward here.
cusk
bottom.
eel,
Yeah, let's do.
along with that red
Our
Barbarisia.
last move was 30 meters.
Reminds me of the movie
Yeah,
Barbarella.
I can keep going and get
Yeah.
30. I think it'll get steep. This might be the last 30 before it gets steep. But
Copy that. 30 at 105 sound good.
yep.
Bridge, RV nav.
Yeah, these boulders are
Hey, we're ready for ship
really
move,
dramatic
30
features.
meters,
I'm seeing a
105
number of
degrees,
planer type
0.2 knots.
corals, like the yellow plexaurid, and then something white.
I think there are occasional
Okay, copy.
scleractinians, like we were
Still
seeing
there on the
yesterday. I see a fan in the upper left-hand corner that may be too far to get, but if you can make your way over there, we can take a zoom from a distance.
There's this one, and then there's that one.
There's also a purple coral here.
Yeah,
the
there's
way
a
we're
purple
headed.
one too.
Oh.
Oh, no, sorry.
Is that the lens
that
flare?
was the lens flare.
Yeah.
It's lens flare.
Got it. Corrected myself. But yeah,
so
there's
actually,
one
that
there.
was a fan. The one kind of coming to center now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed another one of those as well. We'll take a look at the one on the left-hand side and then kind of rotate into the rock.
You know what the one on the left reminds me of?
What's that?
That growth form, of the skeleton, the base that we've been seeing.
Yeah, yeah.
Has that similar
Right.
base to it.
I think we were calling that Narella as
Yeah.
well. I'll take a closer look. There might be several things going on here, I'm not sure. Some stalks in the foreground and several in the background.
The fish just over the ledge on the sediment. Just hidden from view.
It's definitely an associate rich coral. Lots of associate crinoids and also known as feather stars, ophiuroids, brittle stars.
Okay, video. Here to zoom.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, this looks like our mystery coral base we've been seeing the
Yeah.
past several days. Really love to know what this is, because on our two previous dives, starting at Tidov Seamount on the summit of the Guyot, we were noticing bases, enormous bases of fan corals that looked very similar to this.
Copilot, will you put in my lower starboard?
This one has polyps, some that are closed, some that are open. It seems along the center of the colony it's mostly closed. The branch tips are open.
Okay, it's stowed.
Thank you.
There's also,
Big
I
rock
think, a
over
few
there.
zoanthids on some of the branches, but there might be an older part of the colony there as well.
Change my heading to keep you in view.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're in the middle of a move, huh? All right. Can do a zoom here video. Then we'll have to move on.
Looks pretty consistent, around 4 polyps per whirl, 3 to 4 polyps per whirl, at least on the thinner branches.
Should maybe look down at the base, see if these are actually two of the same.
Several zoanthids as well.
Copilot, retake my tilt.
Roger that. Okay, tilt down.
Yeah.
These primnoids are
Now, will you just
characteristic,
call
and then
for,
they have
easy
lots
ship
and
stop, because there's
lots and
also a
lots of
purple
scales
coral
on the
that wants to
polyps
Bridge, RV nav.
that are used as a diagnostic characteristic for identifying
Easy ship stop right
species, differentiating
Rotate right.
different genera.
Yeah.
Nice thick base there. It's probably been there for quite a while. Pretty heavily calcified.
How long did the ship end up going now?
here. 20
Okay.
meters.
Is this
Should be
two
okay.
different types of corals, the thin one and the thick one?
So
Copy.
that's what I'm trying to
Just tilt
figure
up,
out.
Copilot.
They look attached. You know, I think one colony is probably old growth.
Okay, let's hold there.
So one colony is probably old growth, and it's much thicker. The polyps look a little bit different in how they're oriented on the axis. And then there's some thin branches which are younger. They look more, just thinner. But there's also some branches of zoanthids, which are, it's
That's
basically
okay.
wherever there's been tissue loss,
Tilt me back up.
other cnidarians have colonized the
tilt up
area.
the full specimen there. Yeah, then you can give the camera back.
So there's a
you
lot
can
of stuff
adjust
going on
yourself.
here, in short. Could probably look at this all day, but I think we're going to have to move on.
Stand by.
I got it.
You got it?
Okay.
Great. Thanks, pilot.
All right, you can go wide.
On the right-hand side, there was a rock face with a purple coral we wanted to check out
Okay.
too.
We got a quick zoom there where we had just started a move when we came upon these corals.
Okay.
Fish down the
Another
sediment.
chrysogorgid bottle brush form. We'll zoom on this purple coral that's going to come into view in a moment. It's on this rock face here.
I think it's in the lower left part of the rock.
Okay, you can go in on this purple coral. Down.
It looks almost more blue than purple, but color again is not
Back
an
down.
absolute characteristic needed to determine species, but it looks similar to Victor Gorgia, at least Victor Gorgia as we sampled in the past. But it does look more blue, doesn't it?
It does. I'm just wondering if it's basically the color influenced by what we're seeing in the background as well.
Yeah, we're also zoomed
I am
in
seeing
pretty
at least
far.
one ophiuroid associate or brittle star.
Okay, video's clear with this.
Okay,
As we
go
go
wide.
Thanks,
closer.
pilot. Wow. So these boulders are covered with Walteria glass
Come up
sponges.
and we can recenter on 100.
And people on the shore side were remarking on the number of associates that we're seeing with these long tubular sponges.
There's a black coral down there as well.
Okay.
Bathypathy's Lake. All in all, we're seeing very similar coral community so far, and sponge community for that matter, as we saw yesterday near Winslow Reef.
Okay, almost there.
This is pretty excellent topography for corals. It looks pretty stable, as well as sponges. We're not looking at any sort of regular periodicity and landslides. Everything here seems pretty set.
Okay, you can put that lower back out.
Probably
Lower starboard.
volcanic,
But
based
yeah,
on
keep
the.
them both up pretty high as it gets deeper.
Well, I don't want to speculate. We could find something totally different
Based on
when we
the,
reach the surface.
geological history of the
Yeah.
seamount, yes.
Everything looks pretty angular generally.
Yeah, but when these features fell, it was a long time ago for sure. We do know that the corals and sponges grow very, very slowly. And for them to achieve the sizes they have, likely, as Steve said, that they weren't disturbed anytime recently. Is that another purple?
Could be. It looks about normal.
Oh, it's my eyeballs playing tricks on me again.
The lens flare is.
Yeah, it might have sagged a little.
Looks particularly blue today.
I'll do a quick zoom, see if we want macros. A little sea
Oh, a
cucumber.
little sea cucumber.
Any interest in a good shot of this watch lead?
No, we can just note it. Thanks for the record. Still seeing a number of these feather stars or crinoids on the surface of the rocks, so boulders.
Yeah, let's go back to 20 now that, I mean, HYPAC says it should be getting steep.
Okay.
100 this time or 105?
Let me see.
I'd say 100. 100.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Thank
Bridge
you, Nav.
RV nav. Ready for ship move. 20 meters, 100 degrees, 0.2 knots. Good copy.
Yeah.
Copy.
Looks like we're coming on a different type of sea fan on the rock, big boulder on the right. When you get a chance, pilot, if we could take a zoom on the coral on the right of the sponge coming up.
Yeah, I noticed that one.
Okay.
Just have to wait a minute or two for more tether. We can start with a zoom from here.
Thank you.
And then I'll get closer when I can. Okay, video.
There's an anthomastus at the base I just took a peek at. Really dense polyps on this primnode.
Seeing lots of feather stars on it too. There's an anemone on one of the branches, type of flytrap anemone coming into view right now.
Okay, if you come wide, I see a little more tether there.
Oh, yeah. So pilot, there was these little white structures on the coral that we were just imaging. When you move into position, we might want to get a closer view of those as well.
Okay.
Sort of white blobs.
I think I see a couple.